Hi Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is going to be your reading for June. Wanted to apologize on the delay. Like I said, I've been really busy. I just recently moved. I also am back in school, so it's kind of a crazy, hectic schedule. I really get the sense, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, that you guys are going through a lot of like really big changes. I feel the sense that I almost feel like a lot of old cycles or old ways of being or old behavioral patterns, I almost get the sense that like they're being stripped away from you. Like you're being like, I don't mean this to come out in the wrong way, but it's almost like you're being forced to like look at yourself in the mirror, and you're being forced to like identify like what parts have you played in other situations versus like other people. So I hope that lands for you. All right. So okay. I also feel like some of you guys might be reconnecting with old friends. It's like so cold where I am right now. I'm sorry. I'm like, anyway. Oops. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. What do we have for Gemini, Libra, Aquarius? June 2019. Libra, Aquarius. Wow. Wow. Okay. Oh, that just wanted to pop out there. We have the Devil card that wanted to pop out, but I'm going to put it back because it was a couple cards too many. Yeah, it wants me to... Okay, I'm going to clarify. They want me to clarify this. Okay. You have double eights on the board. I definitely get the sense that there's a lot of heavy cycles that are being broken. Maybe you're realizing different behaviors that have been instilled in you from other people, so you're like in the process of realizing them, and it's kind of left you feeling out in the cold because like maybe you found yourself in conflict with other people around you, and you're slowly starting to realize that like part of the conflict also is old ways of thinking that are coming from your end. So it's not to point the finger at anybody, but it's like we all have our shit, and like we all have things that like we need to work on, and it just seems that the focus this time around is maybe on what you need to work on when it comes to just making it easier for you to love. I don't know where that's coming from, but I do get the sense that there is like self-restrictive behavior, and it's almost like you've put yourself out in the cold. Like you've put yourself out in the cold, like almost in like a timeout. Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna put myself in a timeout. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna think, I'm gonna like ground myself, and then I'm gonna communicate. Or I could see this in another way, that there's communication coming through from somebody that maybe you've left out in the cold, maybe a strong earth energy. This person is feeling self-restricted. It could be that they don't want to see something like the two people that are in here, like they're not looking. You know, like he's got his head in his hands and she's got a blindfold over her eyes. I'm sorry, and it almost seems like this person doesn't want to be seen. Like they're like freaking out. Like if I read this in this way, like there's somebody on the outside who's freaking out, who feels left out in the cold, and they don't want to look. It's almost like, okay, I'm gonna go blindfolded into this. I'm just gonna blindly walk into this, and I'm just gonna communicate. And like this person might have a tendency to kind of like talk out their ass, Like, I don't, like, that's kind of like a term that is thrown around a little bit for somebody who, like, you know, they might be a little bit of a bullshitter. Not in a bad way, but more or less like they talk a lot and like not a lot of action falls behind it. But it seems that if I do read those cards that way and this isn't about you, then there could be somebody on the outside who wants to come in and communicate. Or another way that I could see this is there also might be a situation on the board where there's somebody who is in very like restrictive behavior. It's almost like there's anxiety, there's depression. This person is like, they feel alone, they feel left out in the cold, and here comes spirit that they're getting downloads. Like, they feel so lost, like they're not even like willing to like look up in the sky to like look for answers. So like spirit is like literally coming in and they're like, listen, like pay attention, like we're trying to get your attention and you're not looking and you're not listening. My card just wanted to stick to my finger too. So I could see it in that way. But I really get the sense that this is your energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Maybe taking some time out. There's a situation that I feel has left you out in the cold. Or maybe you've put yourself out in the cold, like I said, and you've put yourself in like more of like a situational timeout where you're like, okay, I need a break. And it could be because you don't want to look at something. It could be because you don't want to communicate something. Either way, spirit is here and they're giving you downloads. Like, they're telling you what you need to, like, what they're telling you what you need to know. But it's like, I almost feel like the person isn't willing to see it. So, like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit hard to see the signs if you're not willing to look. Like, there's a couple different ways that this can go. So, we have the Page of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and then we have the Page of Wands, okay? And like, this Page of Wands oftentimes talks to me about rising up from the ashes, because like you see the phoenix. I really get the sense that this is you, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. I almost feel like you're kind of in a, nobody is looking on this board. It's like you just refuse to look. It's like you don't want to look at it. You don't want to see it. Signs are telling you, things are pointing you in that direction. You're like, nope, 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 don't want to see it. Oh my. You have the Page of Cups at the top of the deck here. And this is speaking to me right now. Oh, and then you have Temperance at the bottom of the deck. Okay, you have Temperance at the bottom of the deck. As well as, Page of Cups at the top. So, this is talking to me about healing. This is talking to me about an apology. Maybe an apology, or maybe an opening up of emotion. I almost get the sense that there's a situation on the board where like there's somebody who feels like they've been backed into a corner and they don't know what to do. Maybe there's something that maybe triggered you, and like this is a learning lesson for you. Like, maybe you've encountered somebody recently over the last couple months or couple weeks, and like you've noticed that as you've been around them, they've triggered different aspects of yourself. Like, they've triggered like deep childhood wounds that you like, you know, kind of weren't really allowing to come to the surface, and now all of a sudden that this person's come into your life, it's like it's unfolding and you're like, holy shit, like I need to heal. Like, I need to look at this part of myself, because I can't allow this to, you know, completely sabotage a situation. Like, it's a really tricky situation, and I get the sense that there's like a teetering between like, do I want to be this type of person or do I want to be this type of person? Like, you're battling between yourself. Like, there's a very strong, it's like almost like a Gemini energy here. I mean, it's very fitting because it's Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but I get the sense that there's a very strong energy about removing yourself from a situation and really reflecting on like your behaviors, or like why you respond a certain way, or like why things upset you in a certain way, because like maybe you're dealing with a situation that shouldn't really upset you on that level, but like it triggers you, and it's like you got to figure out like, what is it that's deep inside of you that's being triggered? Is it childhood trauma? Is it something that is unhealed from a past relationship? Like, it could be numerous things. But I really get the sense that that is where the energy falls. And now I also see this as a very slow moving, progressive energy. This feels like it's been a long time coming when it comes to this type of an awakening, or like this type of a transition, or this type of a overall like, the word that I'm getting for is almost like ceremonial. Like, it's like a coming of age. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, like, finally, like, you've hit this phase. And it's like, the way that they're showing this to me is like a big celebration. And it's like, finally, like, you're shedding off these, and I hear like chains breaking. Like, I can hear like the breaking of a chain in my head right now. And it's like you're breaking free of chains that have like confined you and held you in a way of thinking, a way of living, a way of being. They've held you in this position for so long, and you're right at that cusp of where you're like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to fix this. Like, I'm aware, I see this, I'm observant. Like, you're paying attention to the writing on the walls, you're communicating what your needs are, you're taking time out for yourself, you're trying to move out of this self-restricting energy, but you're doing it at a pace that is slower than what other people would like to do it, but you're still moving at a very fiery rate. Like, you're leaving behind a pattern of inconsistent behavior. And I don't mean that in a harsh way, because I'm guilty of it myself. Like, sometimes, like, I can speak on this because, like, I've had things, like, I fall into this category, so it's like I'm, but, like, sometimes when people have been through a lot in their lives, like, they, especially in relationships, or, like, they have, like, deep-rooted, like, family dynamics that have affected their abilities to, like, be in relationships, like, in a healthy way. And it's like, when you realize all that stuff, like, it takes a lot to come out of it. Like, when you realize that, like, that your perception of things, like, have been, like, cultured over time, not cultured, but like I'm trying to put this into words, but it's like there's somebody who's lived their lives one way for a very, very long time, and their soul became uneasy because it wasn't true to who they were. So the universe brought in a situation that triggered a change of a catalyst within this person to get through this last phase of soul, like, development. Wow, that's, like, so deep. That's, like, so deep. It's like they're walking away from inconsistent behavior. They're walking away from player energy. They're walking away from being non-committal. They're walking away from having commitment fears. Like, maybe they were a commitment phobe, or maybe you're a commitment phobe. You're walking away from that type of thinking, that way of being. You're walking away from that, and you're coming out of this self-restrictive energy, and you're tired of feeling left out in the cold. Like, you're tired of this, and, like, the divine is trying to communicate that to you. Like, listen, like, it's time. It is time. It is time. I need to write that down, because that's going to be the title of this video, is that it is time. And then I just heard 222. Okay, and I just saw 1, 2, 3, 4. On my thing in the room that I'm in, it just said 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock. Yeah, this is a time of growth. This is a time of healing, and whoever is going through this massive transitional period, like, congratulations. It is not easy to do this. Like, good for you. Like, I feel like this has been a long, long time coming. What else can we get for Gemini, Libra, Aquarius? Yeah, you have the Hangman here, and it's like people are watching you. Like, they're waiting for you. Like, people are literally waiting for you. Yeah, you have the Hangman, and then you have Justice here. Yeah, you were waiting on the signs. You were waiting on the communication. You were waiting for the okay or the green light from Spirit that this is what it's what you need to be doing. And now this 5 of Wands came out in reverse, and I'm going to take that into consideration because of where it's falling in the placement of the cards here. Yeah, you were hung up about something, and then it's like you got a spiritual download, and it's like it's time to come out of the cold. It is time to bring justice to a situation of you beginning a new passionate beginning, of you finally standing up and realizing what your power is. And it's like this person is standing up, and they're holding this, and the lightning is striking in the background. And some people interpret their cards differently. However, I read intuitively, And this card is telling me that it's somebody taking their power back. It's somebody reclaiming their power in themselves, believing that they can leave the conflict behind, believing that they don't have to be this non-committal energy, like knowing that they have it within themselves to be enough to just, come out of that 4 cups. You know what I'm saying? Like, the ships are here. Like, it is time to move forward. It's time to get out of that sadness. It's time to get out of the conflict. And you're standing up, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. If this isn't you, this is somebody else that you're dealing with. It could be vice versa. It could be masculine. It could be feminine. You're moving towards a state of wish fulfillment. You're moving towards a state of being that is a higher vibrational level that speaks to your soul. Like, it is time. Like, people have been waiting for you to do this. Like, I feel like there are people on the outside that have, like, known your potential, and they're like, finally, this is happening. Finally, you got the picture. Finally, it's time that this is happening. So, like, that's amazing, honest to God. Like, that is such a beautiful read. Let's see if we can get anything else. Yeah, you're moving through, and you're not messing around. Like, you're straight up moving on. Like, look at the power in this card. Seriously, like, look at the power in that card. And, like, this is telling me just to keep moving forward. Like, I feel a lot of, like, Cancerian energy as well, even though the Chariot's not here. I get the sense that, like, you might be in a strong Cancer energy at the moment, where you're, like, looking at your family, you're looking at your friends, you're looking at what matters to you the most. Like, you might even be in a Taurean energy, to be completely honest. But I do get the sense there is very strong earth here. There is very strong fire, very strong air. I see you popping up here. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is Libra right here. Okay, and then we have Piscean on the board. But this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. Let me pull you one of these cards. One of these is Soul's Journeys card. Wow, that just flew out. I wasn't ready for that, but we'll take it into consideration. Denial. I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. We'll take that into consideration for you, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, because it did want to pop out. Wow, look at the colors. Wow, yeah, you even have a lot of orange and red on the board here. Regret. I know that I cannot change the past. You're moving forward, okay? You're realizing that, like, unfortunately, like, your past really affected your being now. So, like, you are like, okay, like, I understand that the things that I went through in my childhood, or, when I was living with my parents, or, like, all that stuff affected me. All that stuff impacted me. The dynamic of my parents' relationship affected me. The dynamic of my relationship with my siblings affected me. Like, maybe you had a dynamic where you were bullied a lot when you were younger within your family, and it made you, like, leery to trust people. So then you had to work through that. Like, you're realizing that, like, your past does not have power over you, is really what I feel. And then you have abundance here. I am a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. Okay, and that is great. That is wonderful, because you do have the abundance. So yeah, that's what I got for you, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Thank you so much. Sorry, my dogs are going to start barking. Bye, I'll talk to you soon.